This video is going out there to all the traders who don't know which strategy should I use, am I getting to the market too soon, should I quit my job? These are questions that a lot of us ask ourselves every day, and you know what, there's not a one answer fits all for everybody, but there are things that you could see in your life that may help you, move toward that area. Starting off is, as a trader, it could get a little overwhelming on so many strategies, so many different people out there telling you what direction to go, how to trade, what style to trade. A lot of this, could just be noise, and you really have to come down to what fits you and your personal life the best. So some people might have a better option trading overnight, in different sessions. When it's NASDAQ, the market's a little slower, New York session's not open, and you might have a little more opportunity to have those longer term trades and still make, good capital. Whereas somebody else may have, a little more free time or opportunity during the day where they want to kind of get into a trade for less than an hour and make that capital, and after that hour is done, they can go on the rest of their day. There's various different opportunities within various different products, and a lot of this comes down to just trial and error, but there are things that you could do to help yourself get to a better spot a little sooner. One thing is understand your personality. When it comes to trading, whether prior or whether after, trading really brings out how you are as a person. What money does is really just amplifies who you are as a person. Similar thing with trading. If you're someone who tends to be doesn't have to be bad, but tends to be greedy, you might see yourself taking those trades that you can't get yourself out of. You might stay in a little longer than you were supposed to. You might not follow risk parameters as more strict. Whether you're patient or skeptical, you might not even get into the trade. You might miss opportunities. You might not make as much as you could have made because you were a little too eager to get out. So there are various different backgrounds and personality types that segue into the markets, and this just kind of goes along with the space. You really have to just learn yourself, and once you learn yourself, then go to the market and see what strategy, what time frame, what product works best for you. The thing with trading is that 4 or 5 different people with 4 or 5 different strategies can look at the same chart and still come to the same conclusion, because the market moves in patterns. So whether you use market structure, ICT concepts, or you're just looking at price action and trying to determine what direction you want to go for the day, a lot of these could align, and a lot of these make sense because there's no one way fits all for everybody. You could have 5 different people with the same background, same opportunities, but they all might favor different strategies, and again, it comes down to personality. Now, going on to, how do I learn these strategies and how long does it take me to, get to a spot being profitable? This varies by person as well. I always recommend, learning from someone who is going to teach you the basics. So whether that's support and resistance, fair value gaps, learning about liquidity, learning about the product that you're trading, what's in the background, what's the underlying stock or purpose of that. Learning these things, I think, is the most crucial, because you could take those aspects and move that on to, the rest of different products or the rest of different things. You want to teach someone how to fish so that way they can fish for themselves forever, and that's my personal belief on the best way to teach someone how to trade within the markets. So one thing I like to do is look at support and resistance. I like to do a top-down analysis, so basically starting from the higher time frames or the macro level. Doing this, as I've seen, tends to have a little more sway on the market. You get a little more, or I guess a little less of those fake outs. What fake outs are basically, the market isn't made to pay you. The market is made to pretty much take as much money as it can and continue to increase. So a lot of people who aren't big money like companies or institutions tend to trade in similar fashions, and that's why a lot of them tend to see similar results on getting stopped out in certain areas, or price was going in the right direction but all of a sudden just tanked down. A lot of this is because again, smaller money in the market can't move the market, and the market is made to basically take your money. So what I've seen is to try to trade like the big money, and that way you could kind of take it along the way. Small wins compound into a lot more, and then you could see yourself in a better spot. So I like to trade higher time frames, look at the weekly chart, daily chart, hourly chart, and then usually I'll probably get in around the 5 to 15 minute chart, and then kind of follow those trends as I go through my trades. Next question is, how long should I trade to become profitable? This is a very in-depth question. It's not, again, one size fits all. Someone could really learn and understand and still not be in a spot where they're becoming profitable, because like I said before, there's a lot of mental barriers or psychology that goes into it that could really make your journey a little longer than it feels like it should be. So I always give a general rule of thumb on learn the foundation, learn the understanding, and once you have a full grasp understanding, paper trade, use TradingView paper accounts to practice these strategies and make it almost second nature. And then when it's second nature to you, you don't really have to even think about it, then you can maybe start doing prop firms, combines, or maybe a small live account to really put your skills that you have learned to the test. Jumping into the prop firm space or live accounts too soon could be detrimental to the investments or capital that you've gained along the way. And the whole purpose of trading is to gain more capital and not lose the capital that you already have. So that's my recommendation for that. Take it slow. I don't think you should even try to do it before 3 months, even if you're really good at it. Maybe a 3-month period, 90 days is a good test, or it could take you up to a year. But don't rush yourself. Don't put a time limit on it, because putting time restrictions on it is going to just kind of get to you mentally and make you have to wait even longer. And it goes to the final question of, when should I quit my job? And my thing for that is, I don't think anyone should really quit their job unless you're making more trading and it just makes sense. You don't have time during the day to trade, and you're missing out on opportunities when you're already making a lot of money trading. Something like that could be, a good foundation of okay, maybe I should go on to the next step of quitting my job. But personally, I feel if you can handle a job and trading, I think it just makes things even better, because having that mental, space on knowing that if trading didn't work out, not necessarily not working out in general, but hey, this trading week was awful, I still have money coming in from an employer that I can get through. So that way the trading mentality won't really, take over and put you in a bad spot mentally. So I think there's a lot of different things that go into trading that, could really, put a mental barrier on you when making these type of decisions. But I do think that, it's not a one size fits all. There's a lot of different ways you could look at the same picture and all have a different understanding from it. And I think using this and understanding this when you're trading is crucial. So if you're looking for more insights, more foundation of how to trade, or just a space where you want to join like-minded traders, follow along, stay tuned for the journey. My name is Josh's Mind, and I'm with Vantage Traders, and we're just looking to help traders along the journey and grow a good community. So if anything in this video sounds interesting to you, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.